Hey crypto community, how are we all today? Special shout out to all the Decent.bet family out there watching this video today. I'm super excited to introduce one of our new team members who is the founder of Poker Royalty, Brian Balsbaugh. How are you today, man? Good to see you.
Thank you very much. I'm fantastic.
So one of the things that we've been covering recently is the work that we're doing working towards mainnet. But one of the other things that we're really reinforcing with our community is strategic partnerships and onboarding strategic advisors that can help us scale this business. So I'm going to just jump straight into it, and I'd like for you to give our community and the crypto community some background on yourself. You've got a very interesting background. I'm really excited to have you on board. So start right from the beginning and bring it right to where you are now.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk to you about my background and Decent.bet. And you know, what's really drawn me to Decent.bet is just the team, the existing team, just an incredible group of guys who are very, very passionate about what they're doing. And in a lot of ways, it reminds me of online poker in 2003 when we first got into you know, the online gaming world.
Sure,
and so
that buzz time.
The buzz time, yeah, there was like a boom happening, and you could just really feel it.
Sure.
And you know, I think that the potential implications of the blockchain technology with gaming and online gaming are just so interesting and unique. And there's a million possibilities that could happen. And I'm excited to be part of the D-Bet team and work with you guys on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know,
we're super excited to have you on board.
Mutual excitement. There's a bromance going on.
So let's talk about some of your past and your history and where you actually started
all
out.
the way back to golf too, because I want to bring up that interesting story that you've told me in the past.
Yeah, sure. So I began my legal career as a lawyer and agent for PGA Tour players. So it was my dream job. I wanted to be a professional golfer. I wasn't good enough. And so I tried to figure out a way to actually, you know, be a part of the tour. So I was the guy that traveled around to, you know, 30 golf events a year, recruiting new players, signing up them to endorsement and talent agreements and all of those things, and really learn the blueprint of how golf money flows through golf, right? Sure. And in golf, you know, TaylorMade, Titleist, Callaway kind of just fund golf. In 2003, I watched poker on television. And I was blown away by, you know, these guys sitting around the table on ESPN. They've got hats and shirts and no logos, and I thought there's potentially an opportunity there.
Light bulb moment.
Light bulb moment, exactly. Light bulb. You're familiar with those?
Yes, I've had a couple.
So I made a few phone calls and signed a poker player named Daniel Negreanu, and then quickly signed Phil Hellmuth and Doyle Brunson, Antonio Esfandiari, and I got very lucky then because poker blew up.
Sure, and what I wanted to touch on is you made a list, didn't you, when you were first looking into poker? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, list. No, it's funny that you remember that. I had I didn't know anything about poker. Literally, if a flush beat was straight, but through some networking and our friends at Google, I figured out that the top 15 poker players to represent, and made a list of them and went out and contacted them, and I ended up signing I think 13 of the 15.
Can we get a little golf clap?
Yeah. From not even understanding poker to then going signing all the top poker players, it's like a dumb shot right there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm glad you didn't make it in golf.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. But so poker blew up, you know, and along the way, I learned a lot about how to successfully market online poker companies, how to work with the best poker players in the world, and just how the online gaming business in general works. Sure. And so, you know, in gaming, we're always looking for something new. And when I was able to learn more about D-Bet and Decent.bet and the opportunity here, you know, it is something that's new and that rarely comes along, and so that's what excited me about the interest and opportunity.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very cool.
It's very, very exciting, and as you guys get to know Brian more and become more and more familiar with the type of person he is he's an absolute beast. He's a machine, and it's self-evident through making a list of 15 players that are your all-star, you know, bullseye type targets, and being able to go out and get 13 of those with no familiarity with poker is hats off to you again. What an accomplishment. So we're really looking forward to you being involved in a number of ways. You know, clearly 15 years or so of experience with online gaming, and as well as a relationship with, I don't know how many of the top poker players you work with today. I've seen the roster on PokerRoyalty.com. If you have some time, please check it out. It's overly impressive, but this man is connected and knows this industry very well. So from a strategic standpoint, not just from how to structure the business and scale the business, but also through strategic relationships, we really are excited and looking forward to the type of value that you can bring to the team. So, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, Brian, was you know, when we came down and sat with you at the table, crypto usually has this sort of underground sort of space, and one of the first things you asked us was what's our way and what direction are we taking as far as regulation and licensing. And obviously, being a lawyer, and you know, from a contractual perspective and all your experience, when you heard us tell you that we're like running towards regulation, that was probably another light bulb moment, right? You were quite excited to know that we were going that direction versus sort of like an underground direction. So in asking you this, where do you see the vision, you know, with the way that in the direction that we're going, and how you're going to help us go down that path?
Yeah, of course. So I think the biggest question that I came to the table with when I first became aware of Decent.bet is, okay, are these guys going to be an illegal offshore sportsbook, casino, Panama, decentralized, you know, and totally underground? Or are they going to go a different road, which is to become a licensed and regulated, you know, legal sportsbook operating in jurisdictions worldwide in which they are properly allowed and licensed to do so? And, you know, if it's an unregulated sportsbook, it would be impossible for myself or any of the clients that I work with, you know, to be associated with the company that were taking bets illegally. But once, you know, getting that comfort level with Jed, with Kurt, Chris, the entire team, that absolutely not. You know, what we want to do is run to regulation, and, you know, set up a company that is really not in it for the quick hit, but in it for a long-term strategy and growth strategy that could really potentially disrupt the existing online gaming community. You know, that's when it got exciting for me. And so, you know, currently the team is kind of putting together a plan and a roadmap of, you know, going jurisdiction by jurisdiction and offering products and services in those jurisdictions fully licensed and regulated. And I mean, that is absolutely question one. And, you know, I think that in the coming weeks, as you see some of the more team members come along, you'll see that that is absolutely the case and what's going to happen. Yep,
we're positioning ourselves very well, and Brian already up to this point has helped us incredibly, and we've met some very, very interesting and influential people that otherwise, you know, be pretty tough to have a sit down with these guys. So Brian's been incredible in that regard, and looking forward again to the future. What else you can bring to the table. Something that I think you and I have discussed that we're both really excited about is PAPSA and what's going on with the Supreme Court. And at this point, I think the general sentiment is that PAPSA is a good chance that it is overturned, and the United States does open up for internet gaming. And I know that's something that appeals to you. And when we were speaking about regulation and how to scale this thing and really grow it into something that is spectacular, having the U.S. as a potential market would you know, really be amazing. So I think that's something that we kind of share excitement on. And what are your views in regards to PAPSA and U.S. potentially opening up in the future?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the biggest story in sports gaming and online sports gaming at the moment is what's going to happen in the United States, right? So the Supreme Court has heard oral arguments and are going to rule in the short term here whether or not you know, online gaming can be regulated in the United States, state by state jurisdiction. And if that does happen, and I think most people who watch the Supreme Court at the moment think that it will, then you know, there'll be an opportunity for Decent.bet to go state by state and potentially licensed in the United States. And there's a number of different ways that can happen. Some states, you know, will require an outside operator to partner with an existing license holder. other states, there's a process by which companies can be licensed. And then third would be potential acquisitions of existing license holders or partnerships and things of that nature. So there is a roadmap to the U.S. I think that's obviously an incredibly important jurisdiction, but there's Europe, there's Asia, there's a whole world of gaming, and so no matter what happens with the United States, I think the future for Decent.bet is bright. But if the Supreme Court were to overturn that, then I think just the hype and almost hysteria around online gaming and the potential for that in this market, is really significant.
Sure, and I agree. There's a roadmap again how to get there, and there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that is already available to us that creates the opportunity for D-bet regardless. But I think one of the key factors and advantages of running to regulation is in these highly regulated jurisdictions that gives us the opportunity, if the opportunity were to present itself. And that's something that you've really emphasized through our talks, because again, I think we share some excitement in that regard. So.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
And one of the roles that we're really going to be focusing on, and with Brian coming on board, is what does that roadmap look like, right? So we have a technology roadmap that is like outlining apps and mainnet and development, and then we're going to have this other corporate structure that has a roadmap in executing that. So it's watch this space. It's a very exciting times for what we have coming ahead. But yeah, super excited to have you on board, Brian, and really appreciate you being here. And we'll be doing some more videos later on down the track and getting you really embedded into the D-bet community. And I'm sure the D-bet community will be really excited to know that you're on board.
So stay tuned.
Thanks for coming out today. Hey, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we better get him his.
We got the draft pick.
Number one draft pick.
Oh no! I'll bring it in. I finally get it. Finally get a jersey. All right, finally made it. Yeah.
All right, community and D-bet family. So thanks for watching this video today, and we'll be back to bring you some more information soon.